Hello, intuitionistas. Here I am today with the lovely Alvie McKree, and we're going to talk a little bit about how she uses her intuition and how it flows. And so, Alvie, would you tell people a little bit about yourself?
Kia ora, I'm Alvie. I am a mother of four biological children and four gifted children. I work as an artist and an art teacher, and I'm a qualified midwife and spent a lot of years helping women to labour and birth children into the world. And I attended Anne's intuition workshop last year, and my life has grown in leaps and bounds on all levels since then.
Well, my dear, you used your intuition in your life in many ways before that workshop. Those two workshops could not totally change you. How did you use your intuition in your art, and how did you use your intuition in mothering and midwifing even before those times?
I used it in midwifery in terms of which woman to take on, and in terms of, I'd often just know to call a woman or to visit a woman who wasn't on my schedule to call and visit, and I would turn up, and sure enough there would be a reason and a need for me to be there. I used it in my art practice in terms of any project I go into, and that continues today, that I would sit and spend time listening to what wants to come forth through me, as opposed to sort of rushing around trying to make things happen. And I tend to not know where that project is going, so I have an idea of where I'm starting and I just follow step by step. For me, only the step in front of me is lit, and I take that step, and then the next step is lit, and so it's this constant kind of following the crumbs through the forest, In motherhood, intuition is just invaluable, and I have found it to wake me in the middle of the night, get in my car and drive, to find teenagers who are in trouble and strife. I have used it in small ways where I just felt to keep my child home from school that day, and then lo and behold, there was a really good reason to keep them home from school that day. Yeah, little things.
Well, they're little things, but they were a way of living your life.
Yep.
And then when you came to the intuition classes, obviously there wasn't much I could teach, but what was important for you, and what shifted since?
What shifted for me and what was important was that you told us that this was a real thing, because it's, I claim it now and I talk about how intuition led me through all these different situations, but at the time, before I came to your workshop, I was wondering if it was intuition and sort of wondering if I was being led, or was it just a coincidence, or were these things, accidental, was I claiming too much of the credit, that kind of thing. And so coming to your workshop just put in front of me that actually this is a real thing and you can develop it. So that's another thing I didn't know. I didn't know that I could spend time, working on my intuition and developing it and allowing it to grow stronger. The other thing is that I met other people who, had similar experiences. So I wasn't alone, because until that time I sort of thought it was just me. Either I'm crazy or I'm really intuitive, but either way it's just me. Yeah. And so meeting this whole community of people who are really different to me, but who had this one thing in common, just gave me confidence to keep trying and to see that intuition works in everybody's lives in different ways, and that I wasn't special in that way, that actually it was just that I was prepared to follow it, and I could encourage others to follow it too.
Cool. So tell us about your flowering, which you've done in a variety of ways. You can talk about Koya if you want, or you can talk about...
Yeah, so at the time I came to your intuition workshops through Koya, and that movement practice has completely opened up for me and become a really powerful container for everything else that I do. What Koya has is that it gives space for an intuitive and for intuitive practices to be and to flourish. It allows those things to exist. It's a safe space for women to, play with their intuition and try it out. Almost everybody else in that room is in the same place of receiving intuitive information and being open to it. So it's a really safe container within which to play and try out your intuitive leanings. What really happened for me was that I stopped second guessing the intuition and just started going, okay, this is a thing, and just let it lead me, but let it have a more pronounced place in my life. And there were small things, I had a wisdom tooth removed, and a shard of it was left behind. So I got an infection in my gum, and I went back to the dentist twice, and he kept saying, he x-rayed me and said, no, it's all gone, it's all clear, just take the antibiotics, there must be some other reason for the pain. And I had this really strong intuitive, instruction, and I saw myself with a piece of dental floss running it over the top of the tooth and pulling out the shard. And so I went and got dental floss. And before Anne's workshop, I never would have done this. But I went and got the dental floss, thought, okay, this is the thing. And I ran it across the top of the healing wound. And sure enough, it picked up a snag. And when I pulled on it, a shard about that long came out of tooth that had been left in the gum. And as soon as that was out, within 2 or 3 days, it was, healed. Mm-hmm. But it was because of the workshop that I had the courage to, not dismiss that. I took it seriously and thought, yeah, that's what it's showing me. I'm going to do it. I wouldn't have done that. Like a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have done that. I would have just told myself that I was crazy.
Yes, this is not just a peon to the workshops, but it is it's wonderful for people to see how you started out really intuitive. That was no question, but it's so much easier and freer for you now.
Yeah.
Now, at one point in the workshops, you and your compatriots, I asked you to do card readings for each other. And that was a little traumatic for people, even though people were very close. There were very close bonds in those lovely workshops. It was great. It was like people said, but I don't like to be put on the spot. And they felt on the spot at the moment. So if you were, someone asked you to do a card reading for them, or if a bunch of people were doing card readings now, would you still feel on the spot?
No. And in fact, I used to be a person who would always get the card and immediately get the book and interpret, and now I go, oh, actually, what I'm getting is this, and so I read the card. Sometimes I don't even get around to looking at the book because
that's right.
What the card has to offer me right there in that moment is not necessarily what the book is saying it generally means. Yeah, and so...
Well, that's an important thing to say to actually people, because they are doing card readings now. And sometimes how those, obviously people pick cards intuitively for each other, and that's part of the process of getting the right card, if you will. But the cards speak in various ways.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's the way it looks, or sometimes it's an idea that reminds you, or it's sometimes talking about the theme with the other person. Stuff starts rolling out.
Yeah.
And so it's good to tell the intuitionistas that what is written about it can often even be misleading for that particular occurrence.
Yeah, I find that it can be a distraction sometimes.
Or even misleading, because it was designed to steer someone over here.
Yeah.
And that's
a good general for this other situation.
For some other nuanced thing.
Yeah. It took me a little while to get there, but
Well, it couldn't keep you down. And another thing that I am noticing is just the importance of community, the importance of intuitive community, the importance of being around people who do the same things and honor the same things and have that sense of not authoritarianism, but exploration.
Yeah, and so there were people in the workshop there was a specific person that I paired up with, and we've kept in contact, but there were also other people that I just kind of, I felt their energy, and I really wanted to stay in contact, and so we did by email or whatever, and, we still connect and go for walks in nature and just talk and let whatever comes without trying to force anything. And then there were some people who were just on my mind, and I didn't make any effort to contact them. Then I'd bump into them in a cafe or something, and they'd say, oh, I've been really thinking about you and, wishing we could be in contact, but you weren't my partner and I wasn't sure. And so then we'd make contact.
And I was also thinking specifically of what you mentioned, the Koya group. They've already seen a videotape from Samar
Right.
And you took Koya classes through Samara, and she formed sort of a core group, and now you are teaching them
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
And so within the as you said, the structure of those, and it's a fairly large community now,
Yes.
actually.
Yes, it is.
And more students coming in, that you also are making safe space for this.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that, you just let people flow.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you
Yeah.
have one word of advice to the intuitionistas of today,
I would try something small every day, like just every day try and feel into a situation. Before you call someone, just try and feel into where they're at, and then, be willing to hear what they're saying and see if it reflects what you are feeling. I just want to emphasize something from Koya, which we say all the time, which is that you can't get it wrong. You actually can't get it wrong. You can hear, and then you can hear more clearly, or you can see, and you can see more clearly, but you can't get it wrong. So just, keep feeling into it, keep trying, keep working at it. It's so rewarding.
yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Let me see if I can figure out how to, there we go.